And welcome to the 43rd video of Old Guys, Gentlemen Flippers. This video will be a little bit different. I'll be comparing the top 10 flippers by flipping action, which is one of the main things I look at when I get a knife. And I think almost all my knives are pretty good flippers, but these are the top 10 out of maybe 20 or 30 knives. I'll use this for kind of a demonstration. This is an older ZT 0450 that I've been doing a bunch of modifications on and trying to put a mirror finish on and anodizing, but it's kind of my experimental knife. So what do I mean by a really good flipper? For me, what that means is the ease of operation. It means that my finger shouldn't flip off the flipping tab, and it shouldn't make my finger sore. What I was doing just there is I was holding down the lock bar. And that it should fly out pretty fast, and this one's actually pretty good. That there should be a satisfying mechanical click and also kind of a little hit to the hand based on hitting that stop. It's just kind of a nice, cool feeling that I like. It should be able to be released easily, and what that means is that when I push this away, I shouldn't be putting huge grooves in my fingers. I should be able to sit around and play with this thing for 15 minutes or so without getting sore fingers. And then finally, I want a slow gravity feed fall close. Now, I didn't even know something like that was possible until I got into the Shergar and some of the other models. And you'll see in this one that I have to help it along a little bit. But what I'd like to be able to do is get it like this and maybe give it one nudge, and it should just be able to fall close like that. And the way you get these things, sometimes they come straight from the manufacturer, especially with the Shergar, but more often than not, you've got to play around with it. And so what you end up doing is cleaning it out in here and lubing it or not lubing it and trying different lubes, changing the tension of the lock bar, sometimes changing the bearings on the pivot screws, changing the tension of pivot screws. I've even on some of these, in fact on this one I think I changed how deep the detent ball came in. And when you change those things, it's kind of a zero-sum game in that you can make flipping easier, but then it may not hold in here. You might be able to shake this out, which is not safe. This one's fine. The fall close, you can take tension off the lock bar, and that's great, but it may make the flipping action too weak. And if you take too much tension off the lock bar, you end up with that problem again where you can shake it like this and the blade will come popping out. So I've done that on these knives to the best of my ability. Like I said, some came out of a factory fine. So how do I rank these things? Starting at the bottom, and you won't believe this, but it's the Shergar Dr. Death. This knife is, I think, my most beautiful knife. And I truly love it, but it's a weak flipper. And I've done a lot of things to it to improve it. I've gotten this thing to the point where it has that nice gravity drop like they all have. And this one's close, but it's not quite there. And I know how to flip this now, so I always get a flip. I have my finger all the way in like this and pull it down fast. I think this one also works well as a kind of a push to button. But the different adjustments that I made on this thing, they increase the lock bar tension, and then the flipping action gets a lot better, but then it doesn't even come close to a fall close. I loosen up on the tension, and I could get that gravity fall perfectly, but then the half my flips ended up halfway out and not all the way. So this is kind of a compromise. So it makes the top 10, but it's at the bottom of the top 10. Put that down here. Next one is the Lion TRE, another really beautiful knife. It's very easy to open. The closing is almost a drop. It's hard to get on these lighter knives. It's hard to get a gravity drop. The flip open is nice command click, but it doesn't give you that oomph when it opens. And part of that is because of the weight. It's a very light knife, but good flipper, but just rates number 9. Now this one would be at the top of my list if it weren't for one thing, and I'll talk about that in a second. This is the Ferrum Forge Scepter. It's a beefy knife, which I thought I would never like, but it's a small beefy knife. It opens up really fast. It gives that commanding click. It's pretty easy to pull the lock bar off. But here's the one thing I don't like is it's got a kind of a late acting detent that it has to get by before it'll fall close. So if I release it, it's got all this play in it to there, and then I have to keep doing it. I have to be a little careful with my finger to make sure I'm not pressing it down so it'll come down on my thumb. But other than that, this would have been the top. That's getting just about where I like for the closing. Next one up, this is the A2, an African knife made by Andrew Thorn, and I always forget the name of the other guy, so I'll put it up here on the screen. Very beautiful knife. Check out the carbon fiber on this. Really nice. And it has that, you have to help it along to close, but really nice loud open. I like that. The knife doesn't shudder like the really good ones do, and I think mainly because of mass again. So this is about the middle of the pack for the top ones. It would go all the way to the top. It had just a little bit more command in the open, and would fall without this kind of continuous shaking that I've got to do. This is a new one to my collection. This is the Kizer Tomcat River Cat. It's got a design I really kind of like. It's another kind of a beefy knife, not that long necessarily. And that has that nice commanding flip open. And nice close as well. We're getting up in the range now where they all are nice close, nice open. This one is a little bit hard to get it to initialize a flip. Doesn't work at all on a push button. It's got to be light switch. It starts to dig into the finger a little bit. Otherwise, I would have raised this up a little bit higher. Next is a Shergar. This is a Hottie. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. Another really beautiful knife. You can probably hear the difference there. And the whole hand kind of shakes a little bit when you open it. And it's kind of a silly thing. The fall on this is almost perfect, just a little bit fast maybe. But it's in there really solid. That's not going to come out. And that's another part of the problem is it takes a fair amount of effort digging another hole in my finger to make this knife work. So that is number 6. Oh, excuse me, that's number 5. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Number 4. This is a Riot Horizon CF. And this bugger, well, first of all, it's kind of beefy, which adds to the whole kind of experience. It comes out and it just kind of shakes the hand a little bit when it comes out. Makes that really nice, kind of loud, kind of banging noise. Nice fall shut. Maybe just a hair on the fast side. But it's a little bit hard to keep doing this thing. You know, I end up turning my finger to the side to get some relief. Maybe I just got wimpy fingers. It's not so bad when I change positions on the fingers. And so that is number 4. Surprisingly, in the number 3 position is new out of the box compared to the one that I've been messing with. But this one, easy to flip, comes out fast, not quite as loud or commandingly as the other knives, but still, for the size, it's pretty good. Really easy to unlock, and it's really easy to close. Almost a little bit on the fast side, but and this is an affordable knife compared to most of these other knives on here. Okay, number 2, and this is almost number 1 as well, but we got to have a number 2. This is Shergar F95T. Really a great knife, really easy to flip, comes out fast, commanding noise on the open, nice gravity slow shut. It's just a beautiful knife. Fast, commanding, nice slow close. Nice knife. In number 1, Shergar Neon Ultralight. This has got a much less mass than the other one, but it's an amazing knife. It comes out and kind of makes a sound almost like this. Even though there's hardly any mass to it, there's a kind of a little kick. It's very easy to undo. It's got the nice gravity drop. So in terms of action, I think I'm just amazed that I'm getting all of this pleasure out of a much smaller knife. So there you have it. My tastes in these knives, change from week to week as I use them or add more. Although I probably won't be adding more for a while, so I have to get a little creative if I want to make some additional views before my next knife. But this guy, which I do love, set me back in money, so that I won't be buying another knife for another couple of months, unless somebody gives me some money or something. So that's it. I hope you got some value out of that. And until next time, thank you very much.